Praise be thy holy name, Father, on this awesome Sabbath day. I ask for a Sabbath blessing to go out throughout this world. Let it fall upon your people that are called by your name. Grant safety and protection and favor to each and every one. Bless them mightily, for in these days that are great trouble. Bless them and protect them and give them the strength to stand. Stand no matter what else is going on in their life and around them. Father, in the name of Yeshua, your Sabbath blessing upon your people. In the name of Yeshua HaMashiach. Amen. Okay, I'm coming today to report on Syria and Russia. Now, you know by my other videos, I really believe that the battle of Gog and Magog in Ezekiel 38 and 39 is about to begin over there in the Middle East. And it has everything to do what is happening over in Syria right now with the two Muslim factions fighting. And a lot of the Muslim countries like Saudi Arabia and others are asking Bashar to step down, sort of taking the Western side. But Russia and China are standing firm right now with Bashar. But I want to read this article, okay? I'm not going to read it all. I'm not the best reader in the world. But I will put links down below so you can read yourself. Well, on May the 25th, 2012, we have this article from Chicago Tribune News, our own country's news. And it says, a Russian cargo ship loaded with weapons is en route to Syria and due to arrive at Syria's port this weekend. Al Abad television said in a report that the Western diplomats in New York described on Friday as a DIBLE cable. Syria is one of Russia's top weapons customers. The United States and Europe Union has suggested that the UN security should impose an arms embargo, and another UN section on Syria for its 14-month assault on pro-democrat opposition determined to ousted Syria's President Bashar. But it goes on down and reads, but Russia, with the support of the falling boat power China, has prevented the Council from imposing any UN sanctions on Syria and has refused to halt arms sales to Damascus. Al-Abar have learned that the Russian cargo ship carrying a large amount of weapons plans to unload its cargo in Syria's port of Tyrus, the broadcast said on its website on Thursday. The report said the ship left a Russian port on May the 6th and cites a Western source as saying that it will dock in Tercera on Saturday. The ship is trying to conceal its final destination in a suspicious way. Western diplomats and officials say the report was credible. In letters to the UN Security Council, said he had been, and the secretary's name down there, said he had been reports of the countries supplying arms to the government rebels. He um, says he has seen reports of countries supplying arms to the government and rebels, and he urged states not to arm either side in Syria's conflict. But but we know America, the the president, and I will find that link too and put it there, has is already signed and supporting the rebels. Not only Russia, but England is supporting the rebels. So we see two sides lining up here, okay? The Russian and Chinese for the government, us and England and others for the rebels. The lines are already drawn. Those who can commentary support either side with weapons, military training, or other military assistance must reduce such operations to enable a situation crisis of violence. Russia has defended its weapon delivery to Syria in the face of Western criticism, saying government forces need to defend themselves against rebels receiving arms from abroad. That's us, England, and other countries. Damascus says Syria, Arabia, and Libya are among the countries helping the rebels. So we see that even Saudi Arabia and Lebanon is helping the rebels, as well as America and England. One diplomat said, reunion, that the vessel, which is called Professor Katsman, Katzman, is owned by Maltese firm, which is owned by a corporate company that is owned by Russia's firm. In other words, by Russia. One diplomat told Reuters that the vessel, which is called Professor Kinnaman, is owned by okay, excuse me, I just read that. Diplomats say that Russia's firm might have been acted on behalf of the state's armed explorer Rosenberg. That was not clear. What is clear, they say, is the weapons were intended to help Saudi's president, Saudi President Bashar, a stretch whom Moscow continues to support. I don't have any information, if Father goes on and says, in quotes, I don't have any information on this ship, but our policy is not to comment on individual ships regarding contents or timing. A spokesman for Rosenberger, those names are impossible for me to even pronounce, said in Moscow. The Russian foreign government said it did not have information that ships was headed to Tyre with weapons and declared Father comment. It goes on down and says the U.S. diplomatic spokesman Victoria was asked about the Alberg report at her daily briefing in Washington, and she says, I had not seen this report, she told reporters. You know how strong we feel that no country should be delivering weapons to Assad regime now. Also urged countries not to support weapons to either side of the conflict, and has plans to visit Damascus soon, his spokesman said on Friday. So there's confusion here, right? Whether there's a ship headed, whether there's not a ship headed. Well, with a little bit more investigation. Now, remember, that was back in May, that report come out. Well, let's see what a report says from yesterday, August the 3rd, 2012. The Atlantic War states. Just as United Nations simple I can't say that name, calls it quits, the peace guy, world powers are beginning to assist themselves more forcefully in Syria. The prize for the most standard show of force goes to Russia, which just sent not one, three warships with 360 Marines aboard to the Syrian port of Tashers. At the same time, British announced today it steps up potential but non-lethal support for the Syrian rebels. Is this what happens when there's no more adult supervision? This is what the article states. So far, it's not clear whether Russians are going to bolster President Assad's forces or execute Russian citizens or do both. According to the New York Times, El Barrel and Alan Colwell announced Russia's defense office says the ships will arrive within several days, with two remaining offshore and the third dropping anchor beside the port isn't big enough to assault all the ships. The port's not big enough for all three ships. The ships now in the Mediterranean Sea are expected to stay for several days and deliver water and food to small Russian naval bases there, then return to the Black Sea port of Nikolaev. They report. The officers did not say whether the Marines would remain in Syria or whether they are plans to execute and take out 30,000 Russian citizens in the country. The announcement of the move came from unnamed Russia Defense Office, who also told various news agents that peacemakers named Anya and peace plan failed because an oppositional force in Syria refused to negotiate and was supported by our Western partners and Central Region states, pinning the blame on the West, on us. The official added, despite the divisions of the UN Security Council, they continue to supply political and moral and technology to Syria's optional groups. In other words, they're supporting the rebels, therefore encouraging the incredibility of anti-government forces. Meanwhile, in Britain, Forces Secretary William Haggard says his country would continue working with the UN but would not sit idly on the sideline, given the scale of death and suffering and the fatal so far of diplomatic precision, we will, over the coming weeks, increase our particular but non-lethal support. He said the BBC it will not involve sending armament, according to the Telegraph. The debate on the U.S. and Turkey is now whether to allow the support of the surface-to-air missiles to the rebels to hold quickening the demise of Assad's regime. There's a debate in the U.S. and Turkey is now whether to allow surface-to-air missiles to the rebels. Interesting. Yeah, that is interesting. Let's give them the missiles. Russia's setting 3 warships are setting off out there. One's in the harbor, if not already, will be tomorrow, with all of these Russian Marines and all of their war apparatus to give to Abshard. Oh my word. A sport piece in the New York Times notes that the rebels are also getting heavy weapons from unlikely sources. I wonder who those unlikely sources are. Obama, can you tell me who the unlikely sources are? The Assad regime rebellions have turned part of Mr. Assad's formidable assault on his own troops. The anti-Assad fighters on Wednesday shelled a military airport in the contest shape of Apple with the current weapons report. On Thursday, rebels used Commander Syria's army tanks in a skirmish with Assyrian troops. Apparently, all the equipment Assad stored up for imminent battle with Israel is now a liability as rebels attempt to seize the weaponry. Well, okay, what kind of weaponry do they want to seize? Could it be all of that weaponry that Hussein sent over there to hide and to store so it would make us look like idiots for even going over there into a war and couldn't find their massive chemical, biological weaponry because they got it over in Syria and now the rebels are trying to get their hands on it? People, wake up. Honestly, wake up. I've got several articles that I'm going to put up here. Read them for yourself. Please, read them for yourself. And see what's going on, what is happening. I mean, we're in the middle of it. We're in the very middle of everything that's going on.
With Swiffer wet, cleaning better doesn't have to take longer. I'm done. I'm gonna use these. Unlike mop, Swiffer can maneuver into tight spaces, and its wet mopping cloths can clean better in half the time. Mom?
This is an advertisement, and I'm trying to get it to shut down for right now. But I'm going to put it up
Across that country, President Obama signs a secret order directing the CIA and other agencies to provide covert support to the opposition forces there. It stops short of giving them lethal weapons. Still, the rebels are getting their hands on them using a tank captured from government troops today to bombard a military base in Aleppo. The Assad regime is not backing down, with word it unleashed new raids against the opposition in Damascus.
So, I'm also going to put that line up there. I wanted you to hear part of it. Didn't mean to have to get that other thing in there, but about the advertisement. But some of these things, are set up where you've got to go through an advertisement before you get to the main video. But Obama is right in the middle of this. And you wonder why Russia and China are getting in the middle of this. And Russia they have signed a few years back an agreement with Sarah's president Abshar for them to supply oil to Russia. So why wouldn't Russia go over there and fight? Why would this battle on wait a minute, let me go over here to Revelations again. And you can see this developing in Revelations 9, verse 13. And you can see that this war is just before the 7 years tribulations. Just before. It's not during the 7 years, because we see after this war takes place, we see the 2 witnesses coming for 3.5 years. We see the witness killed and taken up to heaven. Then the last 3.5, we see the beast rise up out of the sea. So those 7 years comes after this war. And I truly, truly believe it's World War III, Gog and Magog. And you go back to not Isaiah, but Ezekiel. And if you go there in 28, it begins in 28. That war, this war that's coming soon, is described right here in Ezekiel 28 and 29. Please read it. You will see what is happening over there right now. The battle of Gog and Magog is about to begin. Russia and China are together. Russia is standing for Abshar. We are standing with Britain and Saudi Arabia and others for the rebels. The lines have been drawn in the sand between especially 3 big countries. America, one, and Russia and China on the other. And what's it going to be over, really? Oil. A lot of things happen about oil. and their lack thereof, or the abundance thereof, in whatever country they're in. People, we are in the last days. The war is about to begin over in the Middle East. And yeah, we got our 2 cents worth in there. And 1 cent, 1/6 of all mankind over there are going to die. There's going to be very little left, letting smaller countries around in that area like Greece and Iran and Iraq, whenever that leader pops his head and Babylon comes back with that spirit of Nebuchadnezzar. You know, uh, there are spirits that rule over and help people. In fact, you'll read in Daniel where he had prayed for an answer, but it didn't come because there's a war, a spiritual war going on, as well as a physical war that erupts down here. And so Michael was delayed because having a war with the prince of Persia over there. I mean, you know, let me tell you, people, you don't seem to understand what's going on. What is happening here is happening in the heavens. What is happening here reflects the war that's going on there. People don't quite understand that everything that's happening and revolving around us on this earth is also happening and revolving around in the heavenlies. We've got to understand we really got to understand this is a spiritual warfare. This is a religious warfare. The Muslims fighting against Muslims for them, one of the groups to gain control over the other, happening in the heavenlies. Then we're getting involved in a civil war over there, and other countries are. So Russia steps up and goes, no, that's not going to work. Russia and China says, nope, if you're going to get involved, we're going to get involved. We're going to be a little bit more blatant about it. Russia's, they send 3 warships. Oh, they might use a pretense of something else for a while, but we'll soon see. We'll soon see, especially because of our involvement. Just what Obama did. They will not stand by idly and help and watch Sardar to go down, the man that gives negotiates all of this oil and stuff with Russia. They're not going to let it happen. And it will eventually, soon, go into major warfare. But people want to close their eyes and go, no, the Bible's not right. The scriptures are not right. Throw out the book. So far, every prophecy that has been prophesied in the past is coming true. We can see it one right after another. It's there like an outline for life. We can either believe it or not believe it. It is our choice. And when I heard that this man of the UN is going to step down, and it's in August, sometime he's stepping down. A thought just come to me. Not saying it's from God, okay? So don't say Barbara is prophesying this will happen. But it just a thought come to me. If Obama should happen to lose the presidential race, which I really don't believe he will, but if he happens and Romney becomes president, I remember a couple of years ago, I think it is, that somebody speculated on Obama becoming the head of the UN. In fact, if I remember right, I may be totally wrong. If I remember right, I think I heard somewhere that Kelly suggested for him to become, if this guy ever stepped down. Well, he's stepping down in August, so, and all the elections are going on, and is that unique that it would be about the same time that if Obama lost the election, that he would be open to become the leader of the UN. Either way, president or the leader of the UN, do you know how much harm he can cause the world? I'm telling you. I truly believe, and I really never thought I would be able to say this about one of my presidents, but I think he's very evil and does not have the best interest of the United States at heart. He's all for bringing this so-called New World Order into alignment. But we see after that war over there, and will it happen this year? I don't know. But it's going to happen soon, if not this year, next. Everything's lining up for it to happen, for Gog and Magog to come over and it to happen. these are just some things that I come across and wanted to draw your attention to this morning on the Sabbath, to pray about, to get your hearts prepared for, to get your life prepared for, because like I said in the other video, John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that who shall ever believe on him should not perish. So if we believe, we will not perish no matter what happens. We will have life eternal with him. Father, in the name of Yeshua, let this word go out. Let people's eyes see what's coming upon us. Let them hear. Let them hear. Let them realize that the droughts are here for a reason. That the storms that are coming will be coming for a reason. That the war that is about to happen will happen for a reason. Let us prepare our hearts for your soon coming. In the name of Yeshua HaMashiach. Amen.